So if you want to study abroad, especially in the US, UK or Canada, having a good SAT score can boost your profile from here to here. And you might also end up getting a full scholarship with a decent SAT score. On top of that, having a good scholarship is a great point to showcase on your visa interview as well. Even during my interview, visa officer was really impressed by my scholarship, and the last words he used before issuing my visa was, "Congratulations for your scholarship and for your visa." And many students don't know this, but you don't even have to do English proficiency tests like IELTS if you get a good score on the reading and writing sections of your SAT. Because almost every university in the US waives those requirements if you get a certain score on the reading and writing sections. So, this video will be a complete guide on how you can start preparing for the SAT on your own from scratch. And I promise that the time you spend here will be totally worth it. By the end of this video, I will give you some of the best resources that you can use to prepare for your SAT, including preparation materials used by top SAT scorers and extra practice tests apart from the book. So, when I was looking to prepare for my SAT, the first question I had in my mind was, where do I start? Then luckily I found this YouTube channel that my friend suggested me, and believe me, it was my best starting point. The channel name is Hayden Rodia, who is himself a 1590 scorer. This guy prepares you from zero on both maths and reading writing sections, and also makes you familiar with the test, its concepts and question patterns. On top of that, he actually solves those questions by using easy and time-saving methods, which is exactly what you need to ace your SAT. So basically, you get to see how a 1590 scorer approaches the questions on digital SAT. I recommend you to start with this 90 days SAT prep video to get familiar with the test and learning the basic concepts. And yeah, I will also link this playlist in the description of this video. This video series is focused on traditional paper-based SAT, but remember that you are just using this to get familiar with the SAT test and the concepts. And those concepts are the same in both paper-based and the digital SAT. I started my preparation with this video series, and believe me, it is the best to begin with if you're starting from zero. Next, when the initial phase is over, which means you are now familiar with the test and the concepts, then you can go to this digital SAT playlist and go through these videos where he solves real questions. And trust me, this is a lot better than joining those paid coaching classes. After being familiar with the concepts and getting idea on how to approach the questions, jump to Khan Academy for further practice. It is one of the best resources for SAT preparation out there, as it has partnership with College Board. After setting up your account in Khan Academy, this is what the interface looks like. Here you will get chapter-wise reading materials, video explanations and practice questions. As you can see, for both maths and reading writing sections, there are 3 levels of practice available. They are foundations, medium and advanced. And if you take a closer look, you will find the repeating topics on each different level. Like you can see algebra in foundations, medium and advanced levels. Now here is what you need to do. Finish the foundations first and take your first Blue Book practice test under the testing environment. This is a mock test that resembles the actual test. And remember to use your Blue Book practice tests wisely, because there are very few of them available. So after completing our first Blue Book practice test, we move to the most important part, and that is, have a record of all the questions that you mess up, like how your answer is wrong and how the correct answer is correct. Like you can see here, this is how I used to note the questions where I made mistakes. And also in a separate file, I used to note what mistakes I made while solving the question. And finally, I explained the correct approach of solving it. By the way, the College Board will give you the explanation for each answer choice, so you don't have to worry much. This method might seem like too much in the beginning, but this is the most effective method out there. And this helped me to raise my score significantly in my practice tests. Now think about it yourself. If you have done this mistake once, chances are higher that you will do it again. But if you review your mistakes and you know what went wrong, and you know the correct way of solving it, you won't repeat it next time. You see, the main problem in SAT is not about making mistakes, but it is about repeating those mistakes. So if you want to take one thing from this entire video, it would be this, because it made a big difference in my preparation. And by the way, the questions recorded here are not only from Blue Book practice tests, but also from Hayden Rodia's videos and Khan Academy. Next important tip I would like to give you is, figure out how much time you need for your SAT preparation and book your exam date early. Normally 3 to 4 months is enough for your preparation, and here are the reasons why you should book your SAT early. First of all, now that the 12th exams are over, most applicants will target the upcoming dates, and if you don't book it early, you might lose your desired date. So booking early gives you a peace of mind, And at the same time, it creates a sense of urgency in your mind. Because if you know your exam date, you will finally start preparing for it instead of procrastinating and thinking I will do it tomorrow. I booked my SAT date before I even started preparing for it, and this pushed me to practice every day. And remember that earlier you give SAT, the better it is for your college application as well. Because there are certain application deadlines given by each university, and especially top universities usually have earlier deadlines. If you apply well before those deadlines, you will have a much better chance of getting good scholarships. But if you pass those priority deadlines, you won't be eligible for the scholarships no matter how decent GPA or SAT score you have. And believe me, you don't want to be in that position. And yeah, if you are looking to book your SAT, you can do it through College Board's website, and the most common ways of payment include using dollar card or going to your nearest bank. But the problem is that both of these methods cost you some extra charges. Normally $5 to $10, which differs from bank to bank. So if you want to save these costs, I can help you book your SAT from anywhere without any of these extra charges. So message me on Instagram if you want me to book your SAT. Link will be provided in the description as well as in the comments. Next important tip is review your test. After giving a practice test, record the question types you did wrong, number of times you did it, and a note of what went wrong. Was it the time issue or something else? This is a way of giving yourself a feedback. Now think about it yourself. How will you improve if you don't know where to improve? And that's exactly where this method comes into play. It helps you identify your weak areas so that you know where to invest your time and effort. Then, before starting your next Blue Book practice test, check those mistakes you did last time, and after that, try to solve them again without looking at the answers. This way, you can make sure that you don't repeat them on your next practice test. Also, this time check all those notes you took in your last attempt. Okay, so foundations level is done. Next, complete the medium level and take your second Blue Book practice test. Then review and reflect just like you did before. And finally, move to the advanced level and repeat the same process. After taking all of the Blue Book practice tests, you will get used to that feeling of stress in the test environment, which is crucial. Yeah, and one thing you need to remember is that for math section, Khan Academy focuses on solving the equations and graph questions by hand, which is very time consuming and hectic. So this leads to our next step. Master the Desmos and your scientific calculator. In your math section, you can save tons of time by using Desmos and your scientific calculator. Those of you who don't know about Desmos, it is a graphing calculator that will be provided in your test within the Blue Book app, which makes it so much easier to solve equations and graph questions. Similarly, some questions in the math section can be solved even faster by using your scientific calculator. So you need to avoid solving those long equations by hand and start using these tools. I will link some of the best videos available in YouTube for mastering the Desmos and your scientific calculator. And a bonus tip for maths. This might sound simple, but trust me, this is going to be a number one mistake in math section. And that is, always check your question prompt twice. Once before solving the question to be aware of the objective, and next before selecting your answer to check whether you completed the objective or not. That's because the answer choices sway your focus most of the time. Now, like I promised, I will share some of the best resources that you can use to practice for your SAT. The first one is SAT PDF group on Telegram. In this group, you will find extra practice tests apart from Blue Book, which is already huge. On top of that, you will get access to sessions by top SAT scorers, preparation materials they used, latest updates about SAT from College Board, and much more. And the best part is that everything you get here is for free. Isn't that amazing? Now the next one is the Spring Fall SAT discussion group. This is where you can find tons of other people who are also preparing for their SAT just like you. And here they regularly share the questions they find difficult to solve. And actually you can do the same. These guys are always available to solve your problems because they are also trying to improve and challenge themselves with harder questions. And think it for yourself. If you solve the questions that others finds difficult, won't you be the next high scorer? So this is a community where both sides get benefits. And on top of that, you can also seek advice from SAT takers who have already scored above 1500 on their SAT. They help everyone in the group and you will be no exception. During my SAT preparation, time management was one of the biggest issues I faced in the beginning. I knew how to solve most of the questions, but I just took too long. And because of this, I could not score up to my potential. But later on, I finally figured out the time management strategies that worked wonders for me. After using those techniques, I raised my score by over 200 points in my practice tests. This video is already getting a bit long, but I'm glad you made this far. It shows that your attention span is greater than most people, and it is a sign that you are serious about your ICT. So yeah, if this video gets a good response, I will make a separate video on those time-saving strategies. So subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments if you need that video. Last thing I want to say is, remember that it is 20% luck and 80% work. So that's it. Good luck test takers, and I will see you in the next one.